Hi, folks. I'm Freedom Bremner, and I am the voice of Boxy Boy and the Hairdresser Octopus for Sony PlayStation's Parappa The Rapper 2. I've also sung and voiced characters for many kids' animated shows, including Clifford's Puppy Days, The Mr. Men Show, and Teen Titans Go. But before I go, I think the hairdresser has a few words that he wants to say.
I do indeed, Mr. Freedom. You are now watching In Conversation with Amber, the fangirl ATF. You're gonna be loving it, baby. Woohoo!
Hi guys, Amber here, and you're probably thinking, why are you all in makeup? Well, I've just had a rehearsal for my Christmas show, and we had a full run today. A trial run, of course. My hair is very 40s inspired with my makeup as well. I look...
And very fabulous.
Thank you, Freedom Bremner. My guest is Freedom Bremner. Welcome.
Glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I have a confession to make. I've done a lot of interviews and press for different things, but this is the first time I've ever been interviewed specifically about my voiceover and animation work, ever. First time ever. Usually when I'm giving interviews, it's about music, it's about records, it's about tours. So this is a treat for me because voiceover is, and cartoon work in general, and the world of animation is like a childhood passion of mine that I was able to actually incorporate into the other things I do, but I never get to talk about it, in this way. So I'm really happy to be here. Thrilled.
That's so wonderful. I mean, that's exactly what Rue Waterby said to me. Rue Chocolate Macedonian, Captain Fizz and Pepper, Joe Chin, Marcin. He said that interview that he did with me was the first time he's done an interview about his voiceover work because he's a radio DJ now in Tokyo. So I was like, wow, this is like.
I'm excited.
People. Yeah. So Freedom here is the voice of Boxy Boy in Parappa The Rapper 2, and if I can find him at the bottom here, the Hairdresser Octopus as well. I believe he's Spanish. I've heard that he's Spanish.
I made him Puerto Rican.
Oh, is he Puerto Rican? Yeah, I see.
As a direction as an actor, I made him Puerto Rican. I wasn't told he was Puerto Rican, but I decided he was Puerto Rican.
And it definitely suits him. It definitely does, honestly. Like, I love him. He's such a crazy character as well.
I know, right?
Freedom has also been... He's a singer as well. He's sung the theme song for Clifford's Puppy Days. He has sung a few songs for the Mr. Men Show. He has worked for Clash Royale, I believe. I can't remember.
Clash Royale.
Clash of Clans. That's
Clash of Clans. Clash Royale, yeah.
And also Teen Titans Go as well.
Yeah.
So wow, he has gotten around. Freedom has gotten around.
I try.
Now, before we begin, Freedom did say he had a few questions for me, so for a little while, I think Freedom is going to interview me. So take it away.
Well, yeah, if you don't mind. I mean,
no, I don't mind at all. I've never been interviewed before.
I'm sort of curious. I'm sort of curious as to how you became Amber the fangirl, like how you developed, where your love for video games and animation and voiceover sort of started, and what moved you to create this show, and how you got into it.
Well, I've always been obsessed with cartoons ever since I was a little kid. I remember growing up watching Boomerang, Tom and Jerry, Top Cat, Wacky Races, all the old Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Oh man, yeah, I love those.
Brilliant, they were really funny. And
yeah.
Like
Wacky Races was great.
Yeah, and Scooby-Doo as well, and that's still going today, actually, to be fair.
Yeah.
Crazy. So I grew up watching that, and I used to replicate all the lines from it, echolalia, just repeat the lines, etc. Sorry, I'm just obsessed with my hair. I used to just repeat all the lines from the shows, and I just pretty much had a lot of fun. To be fair, people thought I was weird, but I don't care. I'm just a normal person at the end of the day who has a disability. Obviously, as I got older, I found more out about Asperger's syndrome and autism. I have a younger brother who's autistic, who's on the lower end of the spectrum. I'm up on the higher end. I'm not sure if that's acceptable to say now, but a lot of autistic people don't tend to say that anymore. They just class it all as autism. But I still say Asperger's because I always get the odd, you don't look autistic. You don't sound autistic. Autistic people are really dumb. I'm like,
or antisocial, or don't like to be touched, or don't.
Well, I am antisocial, don't like to be touched, but they just don't speak. That's what they mean.
Mm.
Oh yeah, they don't, autistic people don't speak. Well, I'm like, well, they do, but you know.
Now, you're telling me you're antisocial? You don't seem antisocial at all. You seem the opposite of antisocial.
I have sometimes when I was in primary school, high school, I never hung out with anyone. I would just always sit on my own. I preferred my own company. I preferred to work alone in class. I just thought if I'm with myself, I can't be told what to do. I don't have to go by anyone's rules. I can just go how I like to go. But now I'm in college, yes, I'm a little bit antisocial, but that's when I feel like it, and I'm anxious because I have anxiety. Yeah, I just go how I feel like it. But
so
that's okay.
we were talking about my son, and I was saying how my son is also on the autistic spectrum. He's back when he was first diagnosed, he was sort of categorized on the high end of the spectrum. I don't know if he were to be re-diagnosed today, if it might be Asperger's or they might, reclassify. I don't know. But, he's very much social, and he got a lot of what you got. People like, you don't seem like you have autism. Even doctors, even professionals would be like, are you sure he has autism? I'm like, oh, no. He was tested at 4 when we noticed certain things, and he's been retesting, and it's definitely autism. It's his particular unique blend, his special cocktail, so to speak. I don't know if you've heard this expression in the UK, but sometimes we say here that if you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism, because everyone with autism is so different, But what I was going to say is, one thing I noticed is that, my son definitely, he loves video games. He loves animation, which is something that we share, because I was a Warner Brothers kid. I grew up with those shows you're talking about, the Hanna-Barbera stuff, Tom Slick, Wacky Races, Huckleberry Hound, and all that kind of stuff. But I was really, that was sort of happening while I was a kid, because I'm born in '68, so I'm 53 years old. But then it was my grandmother's and my parents' generation's cartoons, Mel Blanc's characters, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Yosemite Sam, Foghorn Leghorn. Those characters were so rich. And I like you. I used to mimic everything they did. My friends and I did it for fun. That's just what we did. But moving back to my son for a second, my son, he really kind of blossomed in college when he found other kids like him, some of whom were also on the spectrum, but one thing they all shared was video games and animation. They were like passionate about it. And I was just curious, from your perspective, do you think there's obviously video games and cartoons have a super broad appeal, but is there a special appeal for people on the spectrum to video games and animation that you think is somehow different than maybe people who are not on the spectrum? Is there some element?
Maybe I'm presuming the bright colors, maybe they're so colorful and stuff, or perhaps it's a character that someone could relate to. Like, for example, a character is really energetic. Because let's say I kind of relate to the Hairdresser Octopus because I'm absolutely bonkers.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
So I will sometimes bust out with a Hairdresser Octopus line. Sometimes I'll just go, keep the line moving. Yeah.
So, snip, cut. Yeah.
Cut the cut, shave the shave.
Yeah. That was so much fun doing that. And it was funny, even when, whenever you're doing a character like that, I'm originally an actor. So I'm an actor and a musician, but I came to New York to study to be an actor.
Yeah.
And so I trained at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and I was taught, that a character is not 2 dimensions. A character has depth. A character has a backstory. A character has a history. And so when we were doing the Hairdresser Octopus, I was given certain things like, well, he's flamboyant, he's a hairdresser, he's very musical, and that was all good, fun stuff to work with. But it was also important to me that he was not a stereotype. And I was also told that he was Latino or Hispanic. And so I was looking sort of through my own life, and there were some flamboyant characters in my own life that I kind of loosely based him on. But I realized when I was doing the intro announcement for your show that I've only sung as Hairdresser Octopus. Like I mean, some of the lines are that I recall they're little phrases, but I've never said like a full sentence in character as him until I did your intro.
Wow.
So that was actually, from a technical point as a voice actor, that was actually trickier than I thought. I was like, okay, so Amber, you got to remember, this character for me is, you would know better than I. What year is this? 1990 what? What?
2001.
Hey, look at that. Oh, it's 2001. Okay, so we're in 2021. I have not done this voice in 20 years.
Wow.
Not once in 20 years. So I remembered the melody of the song and sort of the phrasing and the cadence. But when I was doing your little intro, I was like, well, wait, no. That's how he sang. That's not necessarily how he talked. You got to figure out how he talked. So it took me like 45 minutes to get back into that space. But I hope I got it. We'll see.
I remember
We'll see what the fans think.
Quote at the end. It was like, "Hey, who did all of this? That's pretty good."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I suppose that's the only time where he really spoke.
Yeah, he didn't really speak. So
No.
that's just one of the interesting things about doing these characters, is that you kind of you got to give them an inner life, you know.
That's so special. Wow.
Yeah, you don't want to just skim the surface. You want to put some thought into who they are and all these different things. Like, yeah, they may sing like this, but they may talk like this. And if this character were to walk, how would they walk? You know, and things like that. And it informs the way you do it. At least it does for me.
Wow, that is honestly, that is just so interesting. Wow.
I'm really grateful for you having me on the show, because, like I said, I haven't done this in 20 years. It was interesting just to go back and remember all of that. I think I was telling you earlier that one thing I've learned about the entertainment business, the music business, voiceover business, almost like every other business, so much of it is who you know, your relationships. And when I say who you know, I don't mean it's always about, you know, climbing your way to the top to get to know the most powerful, influential people. What I mean is, your friends are usually your best resource.
Yeah.
It's friends that recommend you for jobs, and friends that tell you about things. And Parappa the Rapper came to me by way of a friend of mine named Chris Parks, who's a really great producer. He's produced music for Roberta Flack, so many artists, including Layla Hathaway. He's very close with Layla Hathaway. And I guess he knows Matsura, and Matsura was looking for voice talent in New York. And so Chris called vocalists and just people he knew with interesting voices who he thought were, and actors. And, you know, it's not like I saw a casting call for this Parappa the Rapper 2 audition. It didn't happen like that. It was literally my friend Chris, who I make music with. He's a great bass player too, saying, I'm helping this guy out, Matsura, and we're going to be doing auditions in my studio. Thought you might be good for this. It was like kind of random. And that's how it all came out. And I've found it throughout my career with this stuff. Friends make all the difference.
Wow. And you said Layla Hathaway, was it?
Layla Hathaway. Donny Hathaway, one of Donny Hathaway's daughters.
Yeah.
The great Donny Hathaway. She's great in her own right.
Yeah.
And so is Kenya Hathaway. They're all fabulous.
First voice of Sonny Funny.
You told me that. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I had no idea until you told me that today. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. And yes, of course, I'm just This Christmas by Donny Hathaway is just on repeat in my house now, starting from today.
I remember, Amber, I remember when that song came out. I remember when it was new. I was a little kid. I remember hearing it on the radio. My mom wore that song out, and it became Christmas for me. It is not, I mean, since childhood, it is not Christmas in my house if This Christmas by Donny Hathaway is not playing. It's like,
I love it. It's so jazzy, and I just love it. I mean, it played in my high school once, and I was like, I love this. I'm like, love it.
It's such a great song. It's an instant classic.
It is indeed.
Isn't that funny how we've gone, how like the connection between
it's like a circle of connections. Yeah,
like one of the masters of R&B, his daughter
is Sonny
also
Funny.
Is a voice character, and then one of his other daughters is bass player producer who's my friend, which then brings me into this. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah,
Once again,
and then
who
you
know?
and then
Circle
you
of
voice the
friends.
hairdresser Octopus, who appears in the game, and Boxy Boy appears in the game with Sonny Funny, one of Sonny Funny's voice actors. Getting yeah, go on
Crazy.
forever. Yeah,
Crazy.
definitely.
Yeah.
You mentioned before when you said growing up with cartoons, you mentioned Tom Slick. So you grew up with
Yes.
Tom Slick.
I did grow up with Tom Slick.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is really cool. So I'm presuming you grew up with like Super Chicken, George of the Jungle, Rocky and Bull.
George of the Jungle. I remember that. So that's the kind of stuff I used to sing. George of the Jungle. Watch out for that tree. Watch out for that tree. See, that's the kind of stuff. When I was a kid, that's what I geeked out on. Theme songs for cartoons, theme songs for TV shows, animation. Yeah. I'm sorry I cut you off, but yeah, I haven't thought about George of the Jungle in, wow, maybe 30 years. I used to love that show.
That is so cool. Because, right, the voice actor for George is Bill Scott, who is also Bullwinkle as well.
Really? He was Bullwinkle?
Yeah, and Tom Slick, and Super Chicken.
No shit. Oh, excuse me, can I curse on your show?
Yeah, go ahead.
Wow. Bill Scott. Okay.
I've done a documentary on him.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta check that out. Is it online?
Yeah, and it's 2 hours long.
I'm checking that out.
I interviewed so many people for it, so many voice actors, and he did a cover of the George of the Jungle theme, and he brought in Bill to redo the vocal. I mean, he had this original tracks, but he brought in Bill, and he met Bill to re-record his George Yodels. And do you know who that singer was?
Who?
Weird Al Yankovic.
No! Weird Al did the redo?
Yeah, did the redo. He re-recorded the theme in 1985.
So cool. That's so cool.
I know.
I'm having a primo nerd moment.
That
is so awesome.
I originally thought Al because he did the reboot of Rocky and Bullwinkle, but then on call I found out that he actually did meet and work with Bill. I was like, oh my gosh, that's bloody amazing.
So let me get this straight. So Bill Scott, original voice actor for George of the Jungle.
Yes.
And then when they did the reboot, he also did the voice again.
There wasn't a reboot. Where there was a reboot in 2000s, but he's been dead now for 35 years.
I see.
So he passed away a few months after Weird Al, after he did that George of the Jungle record with Weird Al.
I see.
Yeah, because well, Al grew up with the show, so he wanted to do a cover of the theme for his album.
I see.
He invited Bill in to re-record his vocals, his George vocals.
Oh man, that's really cool.
I know, yeah. They didn't have a photo together, but I wish they did. And then Bill passed away of a heart attack, age 65, a few months later. Yeah, but wow. Stellar voice cast though, with all these Jay Ward shows. You got June Frey, Paul Frees. Wow, legends. I mean, June Frey lived to be 99 years old.
Tell me who June Frey is. I'm afraid I don't know.
Voice actress, Rocky in Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Oh, that was Rocky.
Tom Slick. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Wow.
And Natasha Fatal in Rocky and Bullwinkle. Also Granny and Looney Tunes.
Wow, Granny and Looney Tunes.
Yeah. And she passed away in 2017. She was only about 2 months away from her 100th birthday.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
My
son and I lately have been watching Looney Tunes, I think it's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's Candy Milo's the new voice of her Granny now. I interviewed Candy for my documentary as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm having a look here.
Cool.
Yep. June, Rocky, Natasha, Nell Fenwick from Dudley Do-Right, Lucifer from Cinderella, Cindy Lou Who from The Grinch, Jokey Smurf, Granny from Looney Tunes.
Nell from Dudley Do-Right. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Who's the voice actor who played Dudley Do-Right? Who voiced Dudley Do-Right? Do you know who that is?
Bill Scott.
Bill Scott? Wow. Nell! Bill Scott.
Oh my gosh!
Nell! Yeah, that's kind of how I remember it.
Oh, yeah, it was! Oh my gosh, I'm geeking out as well. I didn't expect you to bring up Bill and Tom Slick and stuff.
Oh man, that was the stuff that I love.
This is amazing!
And I'm realizing I need to go back and some of that stuff I haven't seen in
Oh
ages.
yeah, Bill voiced Gertie Growler on Tom Slick as well, the old granny character as well. Well, I'm just having a look, and he did Hoppity Hooper as well. He was voicing Mr. Peabody.
Mr. Peabody?
Yeah!
Wow!
I know! He's oh wow. Right, do you remember the old Captain Crunch commercials? You know his nemesis, Jean Lafoot? That was Bill as well!
Wow, he was Mr. Peabody. Wow.
I know, it's so cool. Like the links, the amazing. Oh my gosh, I'm literally just like looking through my Bill folder. Right?
Wow.
I have a folder of Bill Scott stuff on my phone. I have like
Wow.
memories. I have a lot of things relating to him, and
Okay.
wow, I'm in touch with
That's
his
very
family,
cool.
and
You've given me some stuff to research. And
yeah.
it's so cool how everything's on the web now, and you can find all this stuff because, I was a kid. When you missed the show, you missed the show. That was it.
Yeah.
Maybe if you were lucky, it came on in summer repeats or reruns.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when VCRs and things like that came out, certain collections came out. They came out at their own studio pace. It took forever.
Yeah.
Certain things never came out. Now everything is like accessible almost.
I got another link.
Yeah.
The reboot of Rocky and Bullwinkle that I was just on about. Do you know who voices Rocky in that?
Who?
Tara Strong, Raven in Teen Titans Go.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a big circle. It's amazing.
And that's another example of relationships and friendships.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
my connection with Teen Titans Go is a music producer named Jared Faber. He's a good friend of mine from New York, great guitarist, multi-instrumentalist. He went out to Los Angeles after graduating from, I think, Berklee School of Music here and doing some work in New York on video, like early CD-ROM video games. He went out to LA and became really successful in the world of scoring and writing for animation. He started with Nickelodeon. The show As Told by Ginger?
Yeah.
You know that show?
Yeah.
So that's all him. That's all him.
Wow.
He wrote the theme. He got Macy Gray to record it.
Oh my God.
The writer is a woman, I think, named Amy. I think her name is Amy Kapnick, and they're friends. But that started things for him. And because we're friends, he called me for Clifford. When he got the job to write the theme song, Puppy Tales for Clifford's Puppy Days.
I grew up with that. It was showing over here.
So many people did. I
heard your voice on the theme song.
Yeah. It's such a thrill to know that so many kids know that song.
I'm thinking about it now, and I'm just like thinking it. Like I think me and my friend used to just jam out to that, and just now thinking, oh yeah, that's sung by Hairdresser Octopus.
It's kind of crazy, right?
I know, it's crazy. Wow, I wouldn't have guessed at all.
Yeah, it's.
I'm amazed.
It's an amazing world, this voiceover world. So so Jared though he called me for Clifford's Puppy Days, which was a PBS/Scholastic production. Yeah. We did that in his apartment on a MacBook laptop on a very simple setup, but he, with pro gear and all. And years later, he started doing the Mr. Men show, which Americans didn't really know about. I know it's huge in the UK, but that wasn't. But that
over here.
Yeah. So I sang a few things on that. A lot of times I would be called into. Sometimes the song would be a song where the character needed to sing this strong song, but the actor wasn't a super strong singer.
Yeah.
So they would bring me in as almost like a guide vocal. I would sing the song, and then they would put the character voice kind of on top and move me to the back as support. So I did a lot of that on the Mr. Men show. It's some tune called Boogie Boots, I remember.
Yeah.
Get down with my boogie boots. Dun, 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 something like that.
Yeah.
So we did that. But then later he became one half of the writing team for Teen Titans Go, which he is right now. And he calls me regularly for Teen Titans Go things. And that's where I did last year was Peppo the Pumpkin Man. Actually, I did it last year, but that came on this Halloween. I did a cover of the Banana Boat song, Deo. Deo, Deo. You know that song? Yeah. Daylight come and me want go home. So I did that for, there's an episode where Beetlejuice is in Teen Titans Go.
Yeah, I've seen the music video. I was wondering what he was doing there, to be fair.
Yeah, he sings it. And then there was another thing we did, a character named Sticky Joe. But yeah, Teen Titans Go. And that's all as a result of Jared and my relationship with him.
That's
super
so cool.
talented guy.
And I'm sorry, there's another connection as well. The Mr. Men show was animated by Renegade Animation, headed by Daryl Van. I forgive me if I say his name wrong. It's spelt Kitters, which is Citters, or it could be Sitters. I don't know. But Daryl works with Bill Scott.
Oh wow!
So Of
Wow.
course, I had to
Yeah.
interview him for my documentary. Okay, I'll stop with the Bill Square connection now.
No.
Oh man,
We
so
are
many
thoroughly
connections. It's
geeking
just
out.
like
So many connections.
And another connection as well. Well, it's not a connection to Bill, of course, but Clifford's Puppy days. The voice director for all the voices was Susan Blue. Who I've interviewed
Okay.
Susan for my show, and obviously I had a stellar voice cast. I had Henry Winkler, Gray Delisle, Kath Soucie. Yeah. It was redubbed over here though, so we didn't get the original voices.
Oh, okay.
But we got the theme song though. We got the theme song.
It's interesting that they redubbed it. I guess that makes sense. Even though it's English, I guess they wanted characters that felt British. You know,
Yeah, they always redub it with British voice actors over here. I don't.
Are there any are there any big hit American shows that come over there with the American voices?
Teen Titans Go.
Teen Titans Go. Yeah, it seems so American. It just seems like you would leave it.
Well, if I'm being honest, a lot of the time, a lot of shows when they came over here, they were dubbed. But nowadays, I don't think they just dub them anymore. Sometimes, I mean, pretty much all the Boomerang and Cartoon Network shows we get are the original dubs. When we get like Nick Jr. shows, Nickelodeon shows, they're not dubbed.
Okay.
Well, some of them are dubbed, not all of them. And yeah, the rest of them, they sometimes get dubs, but they're not as common as they used to be. So yeah, we did.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, you know, it's interesting. This is not related to cartoons, but you know, Netflix right now has so many dramas from all over the world. And a lot of them, you know, you can watch them in any language, but a lot of my favorite ones are French, Spanish, German, or even Norwegian, but I don't, you know, we can get into this as voiceover nerds. Sometimes the dubbing is not happening for me. And I would prefer to actually watch them in the original language and watch subtitles to get the emotion right. And it makes me realize and think about the work I do when I have that experience. Like, even if I'm watching a character and let's say the timing of the dub doesn't sync up, I can live with that. I can live with, okay, the mouth is moving, the words aren't quite right, it's a different language. But if the emotional commitment, just the quality of believability isn't there, you lose me. Yeah. And I've watched a lot of high-end productions. I'll switch to English, you know, the shows maybe from Germany or Finland. I'll switch to English and I'll be like, ooh, this is not happening. And it really makes me think about the work I do when I'm in the booth with a director. It is so, and it brings us back to what I was saying earlier about with voiceover acting. I think there's even more of a challenge and a pressure to have a fully developed character because they're not seeing your face. They're not seeing your natural body language. They're just hearing your voice. Your voice has to convey so much. And I've just noticed that recently as I watch a lot of, I'm also into, aside from animation, I love like sort of thrillers and spy dramas and and there are a lot of them that I'm watching from other countries with English dubs. A lot of them are British, a lot are UK dubs, some are American. And it's frankly, a lot of them, I can tell they're done in the UK with British actors doing American accents. 50-50 with that. Sometimes there's so many great British actors who nail American accents that it really stands out when they don't.
Well,
and I've seen a lot of that lately.
I have to do an American accent for my Christmas play because all the characters are American.
Yeah.
It's not that good, I don't think. I sort of have to talk a bit like this, you know. It's set in New York. How am I doing?
Okay.
I don't know.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
You.
You know what I find helps sometimes is if you sometimes when I look at certain British actors who nail American accents here to the point where I'm fooled, and it's happened to me a few times. I'm like, wow, that cat's from the UK. That's impressive. I think sometimes what helps is, and this is what helps me too with accents, is be specific, be super specific. Meaning, as you said, New York, not general American, not East Coast, New York. But I'd go even further. Find an actor from a film where maybe the character's supposed to be in Queens or in Manhattan or in Long Island. Like, find out where that character's supposed to be. Find an actor you like who's from there, like somebody you know.
Okay.
stage and screen, and model your accent off of them.
That's a good idea.
I think the more hyper specific you get, because sometimes what we see is we'll see somebody do a generic Southern accent, just like a generic British accent. It doesn't hold up to the English ear because they're like, where in England are you from? It's too, you have no roots anywhere. It's like English-esque, but it's not Kingston, it's not Brixton, or it's not, it's not Guildford, Surrey. It's not, you got to nail things.
Yeah.
And I think that helps.
Yeah, I definitely think so as well. There's so many crazy ones. I mean,
oh my God.
Right. There's another subject. Okay, this kind of links on to what we're talking about. As I said, Scooby-Doo before, Fred Jones is voiced by Frank Welker. Do you know who Frank Welker is?
I don't. I'm sorry.
Oh, wow.
Am I showing my VO ignorance?
Oh, maybe. He was once the highest grossing actor in Hollywood. He's the voice of Scooby-Doo, Megatron in Transformers.
Wow,
Fred
I didn't know
Jones.
that.
He's voiced Fred Jones since the show began in 1969.
No, really?
Yes.
Wow.
And I'm speaking to him this weekend.
And Casey Kasem has been the voice of
Shaggy. He was Shaggy, yeah. He passed away about
right?
7 years ago. Yeah, he passed away about 7 years ago.
Right. But up until then, he was consistently the voice of Shaggy, right?
Consistently. He didn't, in the direct-to-video films, he wasn't Shaggy. Then he returned for What's New Scooby-Doo. And then he did all the direct-to-video ones. And then he was replaced with Scream actor Matthew Lillard.
Wow. So let's go back. You said Fred Jones was once the highest paid.
Frank Welker, yes. He was once the highest paid actor in Hollywood.
No shit. I didn't know that.
Because he's known for doing the animal noises you hear in films.
Really? And he's the highest paid actor?
Well, he isn't now. He's been surpassed by Stan Lee and Samuel L. Jackson.
Wow.
He's known for doing animal noises. If you hear a dog, a cat, a bird, a shark, if you know the famous cat screech where it's like or something like that.
Yeah. That's a human being? That's him?
That's Frank doing that noise.
Wow. I had no idea.
Yeah. So he spent all that money just doing animal sounds for films.
Right.
Yeah.
Amazing.
He's lovely. I'm speaking to him this weekend again. I've met him once. I've met him since I've met him virtually a few times. Wow, he is just so lovely. Honestly. I'm just so happy. Like, yeah, I mean, he worked, with Bill. I spoke to him for my documentary. Yeah, he's so lovely as well. And I remember when he did his first UK appearance, which is where I met him at, he was like, oh yeah, Americans are sort of, they sort of talk like this. But with British, they're like, all over the place. They got different accents and stuff. And I just started laughing. I was like, oh my gosh, you are right. You are right. There's some, like, proper brilliant accents. Yeah.
Yeah, there's there's just so much variety to regionalisms in a country and in a culture. I mean, America, I'm in Newark, New Jersey, and just what we call the tri-state area, New York, Connecticut, New Jersey. There are so many accents, just such a variety. But America as a whole, I mean, the north of the country sounds radically different than the south. And everywhere in between, there's something different. And the middle of the country and the West Coast. And then you've got things like within the Midwest, you've got things like Minnesota, where they have like a funny O sound E, and it's almost Canadian. And so I find that the more specific, the better, when it comes to developing these characters. If you can find a personality, someone from media who's got that accent you're looking for, like model the character on that person, because you're going to give it your own thing anyway. But the more specific, the better. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Yeah. Which is part of the reason I made Hairdresser Octopus Puerto Rican, because I've been around a lot of Puerto Rican New Yorkers, they're sometimes called New Yorkers. And it was a certain just a certain quality that I was going for, and I was like, yeah, that's it. So
indeed, yeah. Actually, I've been wanting to ask this now. Since I found out, obviously, your son was about 7 years old when the game was released. Has your son played the game before, Parappa 2?
He has, because because PlayStation 2 was one of the first like big consoles he had. He has played. It's funny. I'm sitting here. I think this is the one he played actually. I bought one that I allowed that was for him, and then this is like the Japanese import that has never been opened that I keep as a souvenir.
And this is the PAL version, the European cover.
The European version. Oh wow, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, I did like different designs.
We'll compare covers. Yeah, this is the Japanese.
Cool. I got mine for £30. £30. And I don't know how much that is in American dollars.
That's about well, when did you buy it? Like how long ago?
Literally last month.
Last month. £30.
$39.
Yeah, it's about
nearly $40.
40. I was about to say it's about $40. Yeah.
Yeah. Still in immaculate condition, honestly. Like, I don't know why it's got Beard Burger on the front. I don't know why there isn't any other characters in there. But yeah, if I go through here are the credits. There you are. As Hairdresser, Octopus, and Boxy Boy. I'm not sure. You probably won't be able to see it because of how tiny the writing is, but you're like along there somewhere.
Oh, there I am. Yeah. Look at that.
Wow. Yeah, so cool.
That was a thrill. Yeah.
There's been a lot of people who I've struggled to get a hold of. I mean, some of them have unfortunately passed on now. Armistead Christian, who was Parappa Rapper, and PJ Berry. John James, I've been able to track down. Liamar.
John James is another friend of mine. John James is a great singer.
Oh, is he still around?
Oh yeah.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's a fantastic singer.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Do you know the band? You know the band Toto?
Yes.
John James sang with Toto, toured with them for years. And I've done gigs with John for 15 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. John is great. John is a sweet man and an awesome singer.
That is so cool.
Yeah, he's
Who else
fantastic.
is there in the book? Let's have a look. Sarah Ramirez, Shannon White as Katie Cat, Ethan Enbanks. Well, they misspelled his name. His real name is Ethan Eubanks. Rue as Chop Master. Rue is so lovely. I remember I spoke to him. I had to get up about 5 a.m. to speak to him because his time difference is like 9 hours ahead of me. So, you know, I had to speak to him then. Dean Bowman as the Gurans and MC King Kong Mushi.
We're both alumni of the same band. Screaming Headless Torsos was the band.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, you got to check that music out sometimes. It's amazing.
I definitely will.
Yeah.
And Kimberly Queen Amina Hassel as Musasia, Freedom Bremner as Hairdresser, Octopus, and Boxy Boy, and Andrew Alonso as Colonel Noodle. I've been struggling to find Andrew Alonso. Are you friends with Dread Fox by any chance? He is from New York as well.
I don't know Dread Fox, no.
Well, I'm surprised you literally know John and Dean. That's like, wow.
Yeah, both fellow vocalists, yeah.
Wow, John J. Wow, I need to. I haven't been able to find out any information about John online at all. If you search up John James, that's his only acting credit. Parappa the Rapper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I've actually done some other acting with John on camera. John and I were both part of a choir in a series, I believe, on Hulu or FX. It was with the same actor who was in Breaking Bad, who played Jesse. Forgetting the name of the show. It was about kind of like a cult movement. And there's a scene that takes place in a church, and John and I are in the choir in that. Oh,
really? Oh, wow.
So that credit is missing. I wish I could remember the name of the show. It was like 2017. It'll come to me.
Yeah, but man, I also Dean Bowman as well. You said you were friends with. I love his obviously I love his voices as well, like Guru and honestly.
Dean's got an amazing voice.
I love it. I love it.
Dean's
What a stellar
voice.
cast as well. What a stellar cast.
You should hear when you listen to Screaming Headless Torsos. I'm going to direct you to 2 records. The first record, which is just called Screaming Headless Torsos, that features Dean, and it speaks for itself. It's amazing music, but also you get to hear Dean's sort of prowess and range as a vocalist. And then the second album is almost 20 some years later. It's called Code Red, which features me on vocals, and it's very different. Well, similar but different, but I recommend both those records, but particularly the first one to hear Dean and hear what he does outside of voice acting. He's an amazing vocalist. got really
That's so
unique.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, John on IMDb, that's like John James, Parappa's his only acting credit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna give John James a call and tell him, listen, you need to
You need to look on your IMDb.
you need to have your people beef up that IMDb page because actually, John, I'm speaking of the two things that I've done with John. John is involved in so many high-profile projects that I'm sure John has been in multiple movies and soundtracks. So that IMDb page is definitely not right.
Hang on. Has he been, by any chance, in a soap opera called Dynasty?
I don't know.
There is a John James on Wikipedia.
I think that was a different John James, as I recall.
Maybe.
This John James is a black guy about my complexion. He has
oh no,
dreads
this
down
isn't the
here.
same person. The John James I found is white
guy. Yeah, it's a different John James. I remember that guy.
Okay.
No, but John has been involved in so many television shows, and I mean, I see John James on TV on a regular basis, doing music with well-known artists. So
that's very odd.
There's something off about that.
Unless maybe there is more John James. Maybe someone, when adding John James, they must have accidentally made an entirely new John James just to put Parappa thing on there. Maybe
but that is the John James. It's the same John James for Parappa. That I know. It's definitely my friend. So something's weird there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give him a call. I'll let him know.
Okay, and also obviously, I didn't read all of it. I just skimmed through it and then I just started reading halfway through. That's what I'm like sometimes. John Simpson is the third, aka Dread Fox. Armistead Christian as PJ, and Parappa as Papa Parappa. Did you know Armistead by any chance?
I did not.
He passed away about 5 years ago. Sadly. So yeah. Yeah. God rest in peace, John. Not John. What am I saying? Armistead. I don't know why I said John. I don't know. Why did I say John? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's because we were just talking about John so much before.
I know. I'm so sorry.
No.
John James is still alive.
He's very much with us.
Yay! Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I need to calm down. Okay. Right. I'm still flustered in all my makeup and stuff like that. And yeah.
You look great.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. And I literally got this shirt yesterday. I was like, oh yes, it's coming time for the interview. Because I wore this to college today and I had so many compliments. Oh, and also there's John's character there, General Potter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm worried about doing impressions of people with like different accents from different countries, and because of the whole thing today, it could be seen as offensive. So if I do offend you with this impression, do so.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. You know, I think it's a very valid point, and it's something I think about. And even it's funny going back to listen to this character 20 years later. I had to ask myself, did you do that? Did you do that character justice? Is it a two-dimensional stereotype, and would people find it offensive if you did that character today? I actually gave that a lot of thought.
It's just voice acting.
It's just voice acting, but we can't remove characters
what's already been a part of history.
We can't remove ourselves from the culture we live in. And, you know, like I made a choice. Hairdresser Octopus is a flamboyant Puerto Rican hairdresser octopus. Now, of course, he's an octopus and he's animated. Of course, he's a character. And there is, you know, a legacy, unfortunately, in animation, particularly in Warner Brothers. You know, there's a whole legacy of characters that demean Black people, that demean African Americans, that were later edited out of the Warner Brothers.
Yeah, that reminds me, because I think the Tom and Jerry shorts came with like a warning at the start for I can't remember. I know it definitely there's usually like a warning. That they may depict scenes of racial prejudice, if that
right.
Product of their time, may depict some of the ethnic and racial prejudices that were commonplace in American society. These depictions were wrong then and are wrong today. While the following does not represent the Warner Bros. View of today's society, some of these cartoons are being presented as they were originally created, because to do so otherwise would be the same as claiming these prejudices never existed.
Yep. You know, I once asked my grandmother, who grew up in the segregated South, I said, when you saw Warner Brothers cartoons at the beginning of the movies, So my grandmother would have been, she would have been in her 20s in like the early 1930s.
Uh-huh.
And I asked her, no, I'm sorry, in the early 40s. And I asked her, when you were in the movie, when you went to the movie theater and you saw those Bugs Bunny shorts that came on before the feature film, did you and your friends and your family, did you ever see anything, those characters that was offensive to you? And she said, yeah, absolutely. There were slave characters. There were characters that were clearly supposed to be Black people, African Americans.
Yeah, and some would, like, when they did an explosion, they would have like blackface and stuff like that.
Yeah, or they would just always depict the character that was clearly modeled after a Black Southerner as being ignorant, as not being very intelligent, having a limited vocabulary, maybe being lazy or stupid. And I said, how did it make you feel? And she said, we didn't like it. You know, it was offensive, and we tried to look past it. And we moved on to the next bit of Bugs Bunny that was funny, but it was hurtful to watch. Now, it was also about context. Those things, when I look at them now, they're still offensive. But if there had been more characters of different, that really showed the different sort of segments of African-American culture, they would have been less offensive, because they would have been seen as, okay, that's that stupid character. That's that lazy character. But this other character who's clearly Southern and Black is hysterically funny and bright and sharp and witty like Bugs or like Woody Woodpecker. But the Black characters were always the butt of the joke. And so it's context. That's a lot of it. I don't think Mel Blanc and some of those people meant necessarily to be disrespectful to African Americans. But I also think they were a product of their time, and maybe they didn't give enough thought to it, you know? So I give thought to it. And I think I even thought about it when I did Hairdresser Octopus, but I certainly thought about it again when I re-listened to the character. And I asked myself, would I do this character any differently today? And the answer is, I think I'd do it even better, only because it's 20 years later, but it would be the same spirit, because even back then I tried to make sure that the character had some truth to him, that he wasn't just a two-dimensional stereotype of what could be considered a gay Latin hairdresser. It could be just considered as like, you're parodying gay people and gay Latino people. And maybe and there's an element of that in the character, but I rooted that character in some truth, in some folks that I actually know. And I stand by it. I think I'd even do it better 20 years because I've got more life experience. But I would go in just as hard with the same motivations, if that makes sense. Yeah. But I do think it's something that we have to think about when we do these characters, because these characters are bigger than life, and they are cartoons, and they are meant to be, funny in many cases, or striking in some way. So, they're exaggerating, all of them are. But like Bugs Bunny is one of my favorite characters ever. Like Bugs Bunny is hysterical. It's timeless. He's a Brooklynite from the 1930s. That that kind of accent, it's exaggerated, but it's also rooted in like, this guy's genuinely a wisecracking comedian who likes to pull pranks, and it's lovable, and there's a truth to him, and there's nothing, even when he's setting up other characters to get a 300-pound anvil dropped on their head, yeah, there's something lovable about him. And I just think if you can always inject some kind of honesty in every character, you're safer and you're more likely to create something that's not offensive. That's the best way I can put it. But I do give it thought.
Freedom, that is a really good message. I respect you brilliantly. That was heartfelt. Thank you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah. I'd like to also ask you about another Parappa character, Boxy Boy. Yeah. And as you told me before, his voice was pitched up, and
yes,
you said you don't think it's you. And I was going to ask you, can you still do the voice? But obviously it won't sound the same because it's not pitched up.
Yeah, it's not pitched up. To be honest, I think I told you I read for about 9 characters,
Yeah.
and it was 20 years ago. I couldn't tell you what I did. I couldn't tell you what Boxy Boy sounded like. What I actually gave them that they then pitched up. I have no memory of it.
Wow.
Because he didn't have a song, as I recall.
No,
And
he was he was the guide.
Yeah, it was the guide. All the other characters that I remember reading for, they had, I think they had songs, as well as spoken word parts.
Yeah.
I also read for Guru Ant and some other things.
Oh.
Yeah. But no, it's the funniest thing. When I hear Boxy Boy now, I go, okay, if you say that's me, I believe you. But I really don't recognize it. I listen to it, I go, I don't know who that is. If you say it's me, great. I'll take the credit. But it doesn't. It doesn't resonate as
maybe one
like
day someone could just pitch Boxy Boy's voice down, and maybe you'd recognize it's you.
Maybe.
I'll try doing that after this. I will try.
Okay. And I looked for some samples online because I was trying to remember, like,
come on, Parappa, relax. It's practice time.
Huh. Okay, I need to do some research.
Okay, that's it. And also like the battle modes and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a confession to make. I have never played the game.
Really?
I have never played the game. Never once. So I was so proud of doing this game and having a game that I could give to my son. I was like, look, Dad's on a video game. I was so proud of that. But the truth is, video games for me kind of ended in the 80s with Ms. Pac-Man and Galaga. I got into first-person shooter games, I would say in the late 90s, early 2000s. But I OD'd on video games when I was a teenager. I mean, I used to go to the arcade and spend a lot of money, a lot of quarters, a lot of time. And there was one day in high school when I just kind of decided that I was going to phase out video games. And I think I took $40 or $50 and got it into quarters and played, which would have easily been, man, I don't know. It had to be like 3 or 4 hours straight of playing. And it's like I got it out of my system. I purged myself. And it was a conscious decision. It's not that I thought anything was wrong with video games. I love video games. I just decided, I'm going to be one and done. And so since then, I haven't been a big video game player.
I see.
My focus has been on being part of the creative process, and whenever I can do like a voice thing or music for a video game, that's kind of where the joy lies for me now.
I see.
Yeah.
I'm just watching videos of Boxy Boy now. Wow.
But you know, it's funny. I think I owe it to myself to at least play Parappa the Rapper 2 once. I should do that.
Yeah. Just watching it now.
So what I've done is I've just gone online and watched other people's videos of the play mode to see what Hairdresser Octopus really sounded like and what it really was really like.
And they have a similar line. It's like, okay, baby, let's go. We're gonna do it like this.
Wow, completely even.
Yeah. Wow, completely even. Yeah, that sounds like me. Then player 2. Yep. See, now I hear myself in there. Yeah, and if you took it even a little higher, because I'm really a tenor, and they it's kind of in a baritone range now. If you took it up a little higher, I think it would even sound more like me.
How many rounds are there?
Yep. How many rounds are there? I don't want a decision.
Okay, baby, let's go. We're gonna do it like this.
3, 2, 1. Yep. That sounds like me.
Wow!
Wow! Look at you go, Amber.
Oh, I got Looney Tunes.
I'm impressed.
Oh my god, that's so cool!
I'm impressed because I gotta tell you, Amber, I was like, maybe they got. When I read that credit, I was like, maybe they got it wrong. Maybe they think maybe somebody put the wrong.
They must have added like a robotic filter on because it doesn't sound like you. They kind of just added a little filter on, maybe.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
Like
now I believe it's me.
We've done it. We've literally done it. Like,
we've done it. We've cracked the code.
Wow, that is such a lovely way to round off this interview, Freedom. Before we end this, can I ask,
Yeah.
Are you on social media? Where can we find you?
Sure. I'm on social media. At House O Freedom. House, the letter O, the word freedom, all one word. At House of Freedom. You'll find me everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, my YouTube channel. The only place I'm not, interestingly enough, which I am probably going to do something about in the next week, is TikTok. I've avoided TikTok for a minute, but I think I'm ready to jump in.
Yeah, come back as Hairdresser Octopus.
Maybe I'll make my debut.
Be interesting, be very interesting to see what happens. I think my hair started to fall out.
No.
Yeah, well, it was fun while it lasted. What's this big strand sticking up? I don't, yeah, I'll have to sort this out in a bit, but it won't go away! Oh my gosh. Right, this big strand here, I'll just have to tuck it behind my ear. That makes it look even worse, I'm sorry. So, I think that pretty much wraps this interview of Freedom. Sorry if I keep messing around with my hair. I have OCD, so I just, just have to stroke it a little bit.
Problem.
Freedom, you've been absolutely wonderful to talk to. I'm so glad we've managed to share our mutual interests, our mutual likes, and memories of Parappa, and just the love. I just love sharing the love. It's just amazing.
I really enjoyed it. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about this stuff, because I've never been spoken to about it, other than my close friends and the folks in the studio when we made it, and of course fans who reach out to me who found out that it's me. But I've never been interviewed on it, and it was great to talk to you and to talk to somebody who's so knowledgeable and such a fangirl and such a scholar of it. You've made me want to research these voice actors that you mentioned to me, some of whom I've grown up with and just didn't know their names, but really admire their work. So I learned a lot from being on the show with you. I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you, Freedom. It's been so lovely to talk to you. Sorry, I'm just repairing my clipboard because one of the
no
buttons
problem.
has just come off. Yeah, it's Freedom. You've been so lovely. You've really made my night. I've had so much fun talking to you. Like, wow.
So listen, I'm sure there's going to be some stuff coming up where I know I'm going to need to do some British accents, and I'm going to send you samples for your critique. So maybe you can help me.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
That would work. Freedom.
Okay. And I'm going to send you a copy of the Parappa The Rapper 2 special release.
You'll have to sign it, and then obviously
I'll sign it. I'll definitely sign it.
You can sign on the inside. I don't mind. Anywhere. I don't mind. You can sign it if you want. It's up to you. I don't mind.
No, I'll sign it. My pleasure.
Sweet. Wonderful. Right. So to you at home, thank you so much for watching this video. And it's goodbye from me and Freedom. Stay safe, especially during these trying times, and stay happy. And we'll see you around.
Peace, everybody.
Bye. And cut.